Mangwanani Malelepo Vukenjani Klekwas Fanave Africa. Welcome to Africa Good Morning, the news and current affairs show bringing you everything you need to know happening on the African continent and beyond. You are joined by Ashwyn Mberi. Some of our top stories this morning: Nigerian unions suspend strike after wage offer. Israel reports airstrike on school, and Gaza media claims 27 fatalities. That was just a couple of hours ago. And South African rand tumbles as ANC leans towards unity government. We'll also be talking to Talent Gore in Zimbabwe as she brings us the latest stories from there. DSTV 285, GoTV 25, oneup2.com is the right place to catch Africa Good Morning. Top stories after the break.
Introducing 061 Express, brought to you by Synergy in proud partnership with Vintic Express. Here's your chance to make your voice heard to celebrate the businesses that make Vintic exceptional. From your favorite coffee spot to the salon that always gets your style just right. It's time to shine a spotlight on the gems of our city. Over the next 8 weeks, it's your chance to vote for your favorites to recognize the best of the best. Nominations open on the 25th of April and close on the 5th of May. To nominate your favorite business, simply save this number: 085 785 6231.
Now, on Monday, we had reported a strike by Nigerian unions which had pretty much shut down the country. There is, however, a new update. Nigeria's trade unions have suspended their general strike by workers that has brought economic activity to a halt this week. The decision comes after the government promised to increase the national minimum wage to at least 60,000 naira. This falls below the $330 that unions have been demanding, but is double the current monthly wage. The strike began on Monday and led to the shutdown of the country's power grid, leaving millions without electricity. We'll certainly be keeping an eye on that. And we had spoken as well earlier in the week about displacement and one of the most neglected areas being Burkina Faso. Now there's another harrowing update from that country. In Burkina Faso, a growing number of children are traumatized by war. At least 2 million people have been displaced in the West African country by growing violence between Islamic extremists and security forces. About 60% of the displaced are children. Many are traumatized, but mental health services are limited and children are often overlooked for treatment. Community-based mental health services by social workers are expanding, now numbering in the hundreds and supported by a small team of UN psychologists. And in addition, traditional medicine practitioners in Burkina Faso say families are increasingly turning to them for help with traumatized children. Now, this is a story we were covering with Mike Sichula when the arrest first happened, and now we are reading about the conviction. 22 Chinese nationals have pleaded guilty to committing cyber-related crimes in Zambia. They are among 77 suspects who were arrested in April in connection to what authorities described as a sophisticated internet fraud syndicate. The swoop on a Chinese-run company in the capital, Lusaka, followed an alarming rise in internet fraud cases in the country targeting people in countries around the world. The Chinese nationals are set to be sentenced on Friday, the local media reports. And just as well, Friday is when we talk to Mike Sichula, so we'll certainly be getting much more details with regards to that cybercrime case in Zambia. All right, now, Israel, this happened just a couple of hours ago. Israel targeted a Gaza school that it said contained Hamas compound, killing fighters, they say, involved in the October 7 attack that sparked the 8-month war. Ismail Al-Trabata, the director of the Hamas-run government media office, rejected Israel's claims that the UN school in Nuseirat in central Gaza had hidden a Hamas command post. Now, Israel's military said that before the strike by Israeli fighter jets, the military took steps to reduce the risk of harm to civilians. Israel's military assault on Gaza has killed more than 36,000 people, according to health officials in the territory, who say thousands more dead are feared buried under the rubble. That has been an ongoing story. It seems like it's wave after wave of attacks, and ceasefire doesn't seem to be around the corner. We'll see how that conflict unfolds or hopefully stops. Now, in South Africa, it's still a whirlwind post-elections. It's now very clear who's got what percentage where, and the ANC seems to be seeking a coalition government known as a government of national unity. David Doyle of Reuters reports.
South Africa's African National Congress is leaning towards trying to form a government of national unity with a wide range of parties, it said on Wednesday. That's after the ANC lost its majority, for the first time since Nelson Mandela led it to power in 1994 elections that marked the end of apartheid. It remains the largest party, but is unable to govern alone. Spokesperson Mahlengi Bengu-Motsiri cited the results of last week's election, saying a government of national unity is what the people of South Africa said to us. Bengu-Motsiri said the ANC has been talking to 5 parties, ranging from the Free Marketeer Democratic Alliance to the Marxist Economic Freedom Fighters. The business sector and investors have a strong preference for a deal with the strongly pro-business DA.
Thank you.
The EFF's policies, including nationalising mines and banks and redistributing land from white to black farmers, are viewed less positively by markets and the private sector. The rand currency extended losses in volatile trade as Bengu-Motsiri spoke, trading down more than 1% against the dollar at one stage. The ANC will have 159 seats in the 400-seat National Assembly, the DA 87 and the EFF 39. A new entrant, Umkhonto we Sizwe, or MK, came a surprisingly strong third in the May 29th vote and will have 58 seats. However, it is led by former scandal-hit President Jacob Zuma, who is an enemy of President Cyril Ramaphosa. Bengu-Motsiri said the ANC had approached MK but had been rebuffed.
Zimbabwe is one of the top 5 African countries reportedly smuggling gold to the United Arab Emirates. We'll be talking about that story and more as we speak to our correspondent in Zimbabwe, Talent Gore, after the break.
Welcome to Namibia, where adventure meets tranquility. With Enjoy, you have access to a wide range of accommodations to suit every traveler's taste and budget. Experience the finest dining and hospitality Namibia has to offer. Booking your dream accommodation is just a few clicks away with Enjoy. Join thousands of happy travelers who have trusted Enjoy for their Namibian getaway. Your gateway to unforgettable Namibian adventures. Visit us today at enjoy.my.na.
Talent Gore wa Mokase, thank you for joining us.
I'm Keduka Namamkawe, and thank you very much for having me.
It's always good having you in Africa. Good morning. Now, the government in Zimbabwe has signed a 3-year contract with an American company for the maintenance and repair of cancer machines. Tell us more.
Yes, I've been reporting about the lack of cancer machines in Zimbabwe, particularly the radiotherapy machines and chemotherapy machines for quite a long time now. So the Zimbabwean government has signed a 3-year contract with an American company to repair and maintain cancer machines in the country to alleviate the plight of patients who are forced to cross borders for specialized treatment. Well, this was said by the Deputy Minister of Health and Childcare, Kwidini, who said that this move or this memorandum of understanding with the American company shows that the Zimbabwean government is keen on ensuring that its citizens have cancer machines in the country. The Deputy Minister was also responding to questions in the National Assembly where he was asked on the measures to upgrade on the measures in which government was taking to upgrade and modernize cancer treatment at major referral hospitals in the country. So the deputy minister said that these contracts with Varian Medical Systems ensures regular inspections, preventive maintenance, and prompt repairs if necessary to sustain the functionality of the cancer machines in the very long term. He said that by
Oh,
partnering
she's
with Varian
reading.
in implementing. Sorry.
Talent, sorry for that. Apologies. Yeah, no, I
Yes.
understand you were going through. Could you just wrap that one up? We are running a little bit on time.
All right. So the Zimbabwean patients, particularly those with cancer, have been facing a major challenge when it comes to getting treatment, be it chemotherapy, and if they need radiotherapy. So now that they've signed this contract with a company which repairs cancer machines, it means that there is light at the end of the tunnel, at the end of the day, for cancer patients in Zimbabwe.
Yes, indeed. And it was an issue you had been highlighting, I think, for years now, Talent. And it was definitely also highlighted during the elections by opposition parties. Now, in our next story, flights passing through the Zimbabwean airspace without landing are now required to pay fees. Do you swipe while you're in the air? How does it work?
The government hasn't announced how that is going to work, but flights that are passing through Zimbabwe in Zimbabwe's airspace are now required to pay a 31 United States dollars. Well, this was announced by the government through the Ministry of Transport and Infrastructure Development, and this is actually a new regulation which was implemented, or which is being implemented through the statutory instrument 98 of 2024. It says that any person who flies any aircraft within flight information region shall be liable to pay of en route navigation fees to the Director General. So we're not sure as to how they're going to navigate this, but they've just announced that any flight that is flying within the region has to pay 31 United States dollars. So they are going to start or they've rather started implementing it on June 1. So we're not sure how companies, especially those within the aviation, are going to respond to this new regulation. So we're just going to monitor the situation to see how companies are going to be responding to this new regulation. So far, we haven't heard or seen any response to that new regulation.
Yes, so road and air traffic fees, that's a first, I think. All right, Talent. You know, they say if it walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, it probably means the gold smuggling is happening. The walking like a duck being the gold mafia documentary that came out from Al Jazeera over a year ago. And the duck now, we realize, is that there is a report actually saying that Zimbabwe is among the top 5 African countries smuggling gold to the United Arab Emirates.
Yes, Zimbabwe is among the top 5 African countries who are smuggling gold to the United Arab Emirates. And of the 41 countries in Africa that were investigated, Zimbabwe only came second to Mali. And the report was released by Swiss Aid, and it is titled "On the Trail of Gold: Quantify Action and Trade to Combat Illicit Flows." And apparently, Zimbabwe is one of the countries which is actually smuggling gold, and it is one of the major countries which produces gold in Africa, and it is smuggling that gold to UAE. As you recall, the Gold Mafia documentary, it included a lot of prominent people who were involved in the illicit, or rather in the smuggling of gold, but nothing has happened to those people since then. But the Swiss Aid company has released a documentary, or a document, or a report which shows that something has to be done to deal with the issue of gold smuggling in Zimbabwe. But it seems as if the government is not doing anything to tackle that. So right now, we're not really sure how the government is going to respond or how they are going to react to this report, what they're going to do after to ensure that no smuggling of gold is going to take place apparently, and there's nothing to show of it in the country because it's being smuggled to the UAE.
Yes, indeed. We'll certainly be keeping an eye on that and trusting you to continue to bring the news as it is from Zimbabwe. Thank you very much, Talent.
You're welcome, and thank you very much for having me.
It's always good having you on Africa. Good morning. Now, the South African rand is tumbling. We'll talk about why in economic news, but first, here's the weather. South Africa's rand fell yesterday after the African National Congress said it was leaning towards trying to form a government of national unity following its failure to secure a majority in last week's election. The rand traded at 18.96 against the dollar and around 1.3% weaker than its previous close. Let's have a look at the current economic indicators. All right, getting into sports news, Namibia is gearing up for its second ICC T20 cricket match. First, they had their win against Oman early in the week, and now they're preparing to face Scotland. Here is Namibian cricketer Ruben Trumpelman at the pre-match press conference in Caribbean Cricket Jaw.
Yeah, Scotland's a great side, as I mentioned, and I think we're excited to play them. I think we're quite an evenly matched side. I think all three associates in this group can go, well, give each other a go. And yeah, they've got match winners up front with the bat and with the ball as well. So I think we're licking our lips for a great contest and some bragging rights between the associate guys.
Okay, so all teams come here with the goal of qualifying and getting to the Super 8, and you guys will be no different. So how important is it to beat your fellow associates to give yourself a chance when you come up against the major teams?
Yeah, 100%. That's definitely one of the key requirements for us to give ourselves a chance to qualify. The qualification to the Super 8 also means qualification to the next World Cup, which is also a big factor. And we are not taking this lightly. We as a team want to go forward. We want to be competitive. We've beaten full members, and we don't want to stop here. We're excited. We're ready to rumble, and our prep's done. We're ready to go.
We've already seen some great finishes. I suppose the nature of T20 cricket, but also the conditions here. Do you get the sense there's going to be a few of them this tournament?
Yeah, well, it's been an interesting tournament so far. I think the first three games were crackers, and that's just a great showcase for cricket. But particularly in Barbados, I think it's going to be interesting. Unfortunately, the game against England and Scotland rained out about 2 days ago, and well, yesterday actually, and that would have been a great chase. I think it was a pretty 50-50 match by the end of the 10 overs with the Duckworth Lewis. So I think the associates are ready and they want to play, and we're ready to go.
We can't not ask you as well about your 3 wickets in and over against Scotland. I think was that in 21 World Cup potentially. Can you tell us what your memories are of that?
Yeah, that was the first real breakthrough I had. That over will always stay in my mind, similar to the one I bowled a few days ago. Yeah, and it just started off with a bang. It's the first Super 12 game for Namibia ever, and they had 3 proper players. We had discussions regarding them, and those 3 wickets up front just broke the back of the Scotland side. For us, that was a big step forward, and just saying we as a team are ready for big games, big performances, and from there on we just kicked on, kept asking questions, keep improving.
Awesome. And lastly, how's the team enjoying their time here in Barbados? Obviously a wonderful place to come.
Yeah, Barbados is a fantastic place. Friendly people, obviously next to the beach is great. Such a peaceful area. Being allowed to go around and see what everything is about is really awesome. I think it's a different World Cup to the previous ones we've been to. The island vibe is definitely something. You must just be careful not to fall in the trap of going on too many vacations, small vacations, and just stay away from the rum punch.
Absolutely, and the atmosphere in the ground as well. They love their cricket here, and they built up a great atmosphere for that first game, and we're expecting probably the same tomorrow.
Yeah, hopefully. The first game's atmosphere was phenomenal. We thoroughly enjoyed it. The party vibe, you can definitely feel them, people enjoying it. And so hopefully a lot more people turn out. Hopefully got a few people excited about the associate cricketers, and they'll watch a bit more games. I hope we can get the stadium as full as possible.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ruben. Cheers, mate.
Thank you, mate.
All right, wishing the Richelieu Eagles all their best in their clash against Scotland. Right, let's swing over to Ari Hochart as he brings us the rest of the sports news.
Good day everyone, time for international sports news, and starting off with cricket news first. The T20 World Cup is taking place for men in the West Indies and the United States of America. The latest game, it was England and Scotland that couldn't complete their game. It was abandoned because of rain, and that resulted in each team getting 1 league point. At the moment, Namibia actually leading that group, and it's a strong group with Australia and England, but Australia still need to play their first game, and Namibia obviously also still need to play against Australia and England, and it is Namibia that play their next game on Thursday. That will be against Scotland. Another result was in Group D, and that was a game that was completed. It was the Netherlands that beat Nepal by 6 wickets, and it was Nepal that scored 106 all out, and then the Netherlands scoring 109 for the loss of 4 for the win. And it was Max O'Down that scored 54 unbeaten runs for the Netherlands, and Tom Pringle, he took 3 wickets for 20 runs in that game. Moving on to tennis news, it is week 2 of the French Open, that is at Roland Garros. It's getting closer to semi-finals both for the men and women. Big news from the tournament is that Novak Djokovic is out of the tournament because of a knee injury. He's also the number 1 seed. He couldn't play his quarter-final game, so he's out of the tournament after injuring his knee in the 4th round. News from the games that did take place. It's a number 2 seed Yannick Sinner safely through to the semi-finals, beating Grigor Dimitrov by 6-2, 6-4 and 7-6. And also a good win for number 2 seed, that's number 3 seed Carlos Alcaraz of Spain. He beat Stefanos Tsitsipas. It was a highly anticipated game. Carlos Alcaraz winning 6-3, 7-6 and 6-4. On to the women's side of the draw, and it's Iga Swiatek, the number 1 seed, continuing her brilliant form. She's beating all the opponents very easily, and she's beaten Marketa Vondrousova by 6-love and 6-2. That is also to advance to the semi-finals. And in the semi-finals, she will play against American Coco Gauff, who got the better of Tunisia's Ons Jabeur. The score there was 4-6, 6-2 and 6-3.
Welcome to Namibia, where adventure meets tranquility. With Enjoy, you have access to a wide range of accommodations to suit every traveler's taste and budget. Experience the finest dining and hospitality Namibia has to offer. Booking your dream accommodation is just a few clicks away with Enjoy. Join thousands of happy travelers who have trusted Enjoy for their Namibian getaway. Your gateway to unforgettable Namibian adventures.
Thank you for staying with Africa Good Morning. Let's talk a little bit about some of the highlights from this morning's broadcast. Nigeria's unions have suspended their strike after wage offer. In Burkina Faso, a growing number of children are traumatized by war. And Chinese nationals rent cybercrime syndicate from Zambia. Those have been our stories on Africa Good Morning. DSTV 285, GoTV25, 1up2.com, Network Media Hub on YouTube are precisely where you can find us. From me, Ashwyn Mberi, and the Africa Good Morning team, Swera Jaganaka.